Radhika, we have a challenge session because many couldn't, and also speaker couldn't access to the platform. So we did a good dynamic, although all the problems I'm trying to fix. Vikas now left, so let's have a small conversation around collaboration and some issues, and welcoming Radhika, and that's all. Yes.
Okay, sounds great.
Perfect. So, Adriana, you want to kickstart that in terms of just setting the context for the collaboration? Because, I had some questions, but I don't think those would be really applicable right now.
Okay, yeah. Well, as Radical already all know Hecho por Nosotros and the toolkit, and here is Gautam from India, that he brought a project that I would like to give him, but he's connecting with the audio. Yes, are you there? So he can explain the problems and how, let's say, we can exercise or think together how to make collaboration work. In the other session, we had Vikas from United Nations talking about ESG and all the sustainable development goal linked to this, let's say, new creative economy, the challenges, how impact and big firms will be much more incentivized in order to go for this systemic change. But at the same time, he called action for real projects, no? So I think these are can be like a testimony how different, how let's say different pieces can bring together. Yes. So I don't know, Gautam, are you there? If you want to present shortly your case, our case.
Yes, absolutely. Sure.
Okay. Thank you.
So am I on right now, or
Yes, absolutely, Gautam. The floor is yours.
We can hear you.
Okay. Well, I moved devices. Okay, so I'll go ahead and I'll just quickly give everybody who's new to the meeting a background of what we do. So we are a waste to value based organization based in Gurgaon, Delhi NCR. And one of the key value chains that we are looking at these days is the car seatbelt value chain. And
Gautam, we can't hear you. We lost you, Gautam.
Sorry. So when we reached out to Adriana, we had the idea that the toolkit that we've been discussing, and I wasn't able to come to the main points that I had around the toolkit, and how we see that adding value and framing some sort of a paradigm for MSMEs in India is one area that we definitely be very interested in exploring in the capacity building part, in training the underprivileged, underserved people that are based around these automotive shredder residue plants. So with the vehicle scrappage policy taking effect, there will be, right now it's very informal, the waste collection and the rescuing of the automotive parts for the next value chain for reuse is very fragmented. But with the new vehicle policy taking effect, there will be some sort of standardization applied to this thought process. And along with this, what's going to come up in the next 5 to 7 years is a lot of government certified scrapyards in the 8 metros, in and around the 8 metros of India. And our idea is to utilize the toolkit that Nostros has created, and use that as an anchor, as a capacity building program for our initiative. And this will have the potential to employ more than around 1 million people, who are settled in and around the scrapyard facilities. The point to consider here is that the scrapyards are not going to be placed in the CBDs of the city. They will invariably be located in zones that haven't yet come up, but the government is working on creating sustainable development zones where recycling manufacturing facilities will be housed together, much like the SEZs that we have right now, where technology has been outsourced for the last 20 years. So our plan is to utilize the toolkit, empower the local people that live in the vicinity of the scrapyards, create products that don't only cater to a B2B market, but also a domestic market. As the story has panned out for us in the last 7 years since our existence, is that there is a huge B2B market, 200 billion market as it stands right now, in the conscious gifting space. So I see this there's a huge potential to, cater to the needs of this market, which is also going to become a $500 billion market by 2030. So that is, in a nutshell, the idea, the framework of the idea, the high level spiel, where we empower all the ground level work will be done by Jaggery and our partner organizations. Obviously, this a program of this scale cannot be handled by 1 or 2 organizations, while we need to have the right anchor organization. And we feel that the toolkit has the potential to do that, to create the, as you put it, Pranav, framing the SDGs for the MSMEs. And I think the toolkit does that wonderfully well. And the ground level know-how is our area of expertise, because we've been working with the nuances of working with automotive shredder residue for the last 7 years. So we feel that on this podium, we need to, get a word out and try and motivate as many people as we can to be a part of this story. And it has the power to become a truly transformational story that cuts across language barriers and geographical barriers, because every city in the world has cars. And if they are not faced with this issue right now, they will be down the line. So just to kind of tie this to the Young 20, Y20 theme, I think young leaders hold the key today to catalyze collaborations across industries, governments, and communities that address intricate sustainability challenges and help transcend the idea of waste. So we need to change the notion of waste. Their fresh perspectives and innovative thinking will help bridge gaps between different sectors, and that will foster collective action. And we are 100% convinced by nurturing platforms for open dialogue, such as the one that we've all gathered in, will inspire diverse stakeholders to collaborate on holistic solutions. And their innate tech savviness, we alluded to the fact that the youth today are native users of technology, and their innate tech savviness propels novel approaches that integrate circularity principles into daily practices, which will thereby help in amplifying the impact. And through mentorship with organizations who have more experience than Jaggery, organizations such as Animana, Nostros, and in India, we were in conversation with Gunj, with Anshu Gupta. Mentorship and skill sharing with young leaders will really empower the industries to adopt circular practices. And this will make the governments to enact supportive policies, like the government has launched the carbon trading platform in India. But we need many more such policies, and all the communities to embrace responsible living. I think the youth, their vision ignites a harmonious synergy that propels our collective journey towards a more resilient future. So I will end there, Pranav.
Thank you so much, Gautam. Thanks for sharing that. Adriana, would you like to come in with some thoughts around?
Yeah, I think it's so important to embody projects with all the tools, yes, and to make the collaboration work ongoing, because as we know and notice, let's say everybody now is talking around these principles, but how to make collaboration really works and to integrate solutions, yes, and to involve the whole society. We are professionals, and well, here we are in the framework of Changemakers20. How we bring opportunities to make this journey to you in order that they can really understand the way of doing and then can evolve their profession status, their firms under these principles. So for us is such let's say an honor, a pleasure to be sharing all these capacity building platform that with a lot of effort, a whole community where Pranav also has been part, Trish, so many youth professionals that today are here and thousands that are not. We download this first stage, yes, that is so valuably because it's not made by the system or the ideas we have of what we have to do, but it is from theory to practice, and the new theory and practice download there. And all the time, I think when you make an stage and you live with all the ecosystem in an holistic way, you have so many opportunities to co-create new solutions that all the time are feeding and let's say upgrading the materials, and that each of these stages are so valuably for many stakeholders around the world. So I'm so glad about this, and I think that it's so important to see how the different tools, traceability, the use of blockchain for traceability in order to, let's say, support the different areas. Because when we talk about climate change as a problem without going to the grassroots, to making happen the solutions that will support these, let's say, problems that these challenges that we have to go for a more friendly system of production and integration of the value chains. So for me, it's such a pleasure. And Anshu is on a journey. He maybe he's arriving in 10 minutes, but not sure. So said that, how to make collaboration work and to do it and to concrete it, integrating value chains and different areas. As I always say, it's not fashion. Fashion let us the opportunity to work with producers, with biodiversity, indigenous people, medium firms, to understand the more fragmented industry that we have in our world. And one of the biggest in creating value added at the same time. So if we make a difference there, we can inspire and give tools to other industries so easily. And this is what we need to collaborate and co-create new solutions.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for that, Adriana. I would love to bring in Radhika here. Radhika, I would love to have your thoughts on what Gautam has shared. And I'm very keen also, and this is something that I had written down, since, basis your participation, is when you're looking at startups or businesses, right, from the, the work that you have at Stanford, right? What are the investor thesis that you are looking at with, right? What's thought process there? What are funders looking at? What are angel groups looking at, right? So I would love to have your thoughts on that.
Sure, absolutely. So, I think I know most people, but since I think Gautam and I haven't met, just a little bit of context. Gautam, I'm Radhika Shah, a tech impact investor from Silicon Valley and co-president of Stanford Angels and Entrepreneurs, which is about 2,500 alumni, students, and faculty advancing tech innovation entrepreneurship. We are based right here in the Stanford area in the heart of Silicon Valley. We also have 3 chapters in India. We started with local alumni angel investors supporting and investing in student entrepreneur startups and also mentoring bridge building. Another of our activities is hosting thought leadership dialogues on impact, innovation, and inclusion as part of our community building. So in that sense, we are a Stanford community, kind of a family where young student entrepreneurs can connect with mentors, angel investors, tech industry execs. And the students deeply enrich our community. They bring in their vision to change the world. They're very, very ambitious. They're not afraid of taking on the biggest challenges. And this spirit kind of really brings in a lot of positive energy to our community. And also to the question you raised, Pranav, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. There was some
Yes,
echo,
we
so
can. There's
question.
some disturbance that comes in between, but please go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. To the question you raised, Pranav, I'll touch a little bit on how people invest here in broadly speaking in the Stanford community, Stanford Angels community, the alumni or angel investors. Some do invest mainly for profit, and tech innovation is what everyone loves. So people invest in kind of a transformative tech innovation often. And then within that, there is a group that's more interested in that and the business model. Then there is a community subgroup with, like, I'm part of that, some others where informal subgroups where we care deeply also about inclusion of funding entrepreneurs, women entrepreneurs, minority entrepreneurs, as well as deeply focused on big believers that we can build successful businesses and have impact in society. So to your question, that is a key part of the investment thesis, and I'll focus more on that category, more relevant for our conversation today. So I'll just take myself as an example of that group that very, very love the transformative power of technology, what we can do with it. But to me, it's a tool after all. And so how can we harness the power of the tool to help society and have transformative change, positive change, and advance the SDGs? And then that combined with belief in these part of that investment thesis or decision rather is belief in the young entrepreneurs who have big visions. So how to also be part of the family community, how to like a peer work with them. That is part of the motivation as well. And so in that spirit, I will share one example to give a deeper case study of how that works. So one example is Blue River Technologies, which was two young Stanford students came together and they wanted to transform the agri industry. They wanted to bring the most cutting edge image processing and machine learning technologies from Stanford, from the professors they worked with, to build an autonomous robot that can bring down the cost of removing weeds from fields, which is very backbreaking work and very expensive. So bring it down by order of magnitude. So both weeding as well as crop thinning, where if there's a lettuce planted, what happens is the one that is the strongest is kept, then the other weak plants around it are removed to give the strong plant space to grow. So that's thinning. These two to automate it. And above all, to bring down the amount of pesticides used. So very much bringing the power of technology for a more sustainable world and to free people of very hard, painful labor so they can do other tasks. And people didn't want to invest in this company, most Silicon Valley tech investors, the classic category, because they felt like these people, I mean, these students, what do they know about agri? And yet a few of us were inspired not just by the vision and the potential for this kind of transformation, but the dedication and mission drivenness of these two young entrepreneurs. We wanted to help them succeed and be part of their world and be part of that energy and in bringing that change as peers to some degree. So that is often also part of that investment decision. And I'm just taking myself as an example. Few of us invested, And these people actually built this technology, and they did manage to transform the industry. They were so successful, eventually other investors followed when they saw the business potential. And then they were acquired by John Deere, one of the biggest players in the agri industry in the US, for over 300 million. And now their robots are transforming the industry. And another similar one is Casper.ai. That is an Indian academic, Stanford student, and then later professor. A group of professors came together and they wanted to bring a smart home technology, most cutting edge distributed artificial intelligence, to transform a home and kind of create a digital butler of sorts, where this technology now helps the elderly in their home live more healthy, safe, comfortable lives. For example, it learns from the preferences. So based on what each person likes, it learns, and then it opens the blinds, keeps the coffee ready. Not just that, reminds them to eat the medicines. If the refrigerator is out of stock, reminds them, might even help place an order. When they fall, alert people. So this enables people now to live in their homes, the elderly, rather than in a nursing home where so many have died with COVID. And again, this is bridging the power of extreme cutting edge tech innovation, even beyond what is in industry, that comes out of the university. And often we have a process where there's a spin-out process, where the university actually might even fund or take a little equity stake and enable even spinning out of tech developed with professors and students into a startup. So that brings the top tech minds together, and then connect with what our role is connect with within that Stanford community, alumni who like to do that early funding that gives these companies the ability to get to the stage where then they can get bigger investment friendly mentor-like investors, as well as partners of sorts. So that's a little bit of your answer to the investment thesis of that subgroup. But I wanted to come back also. I mean, I believe there's tremendous power in bringing the transformative power of spirited, change embracing, change thriving, optimistic youth, and who believe they can overcome all odds, not just in my world of Silicon Valley, all over the world, and with combining that with the wisdom of judgment and experience. I believe that both together are powerful. So we can tackle the SDGs, the grand challenges of our time, climate change and more, and not in a hierarchical manner, but as peers. But also, how do we co-create, co-ideate inclusive solutions by bridging and bringing systemic change, by building bridges across the youth and the wisdom, the ancient wisdom on sustainability and technology. So all of these together, that is what I am very excited about. Huge believer in the SDGs and in the work of Chopra Nostros in advancing this work. I want to, for a minute, come back to the question on India. I grew up in India, the formative years, in the backdrop of the Gandhi Ashram in Ahmedabad, very influenced by that spirit of respecting the dignity of each human being, a relationship to nature as that of a trusty custodian, and a huge believer in also a Gunj, the Gunj model well, and very excited to hear that will be part of this, because that circularity is the kind of thinking we need, that kind of shifting. And I won't speak much because I think I heard Anshu joining, but that shifting of the mindset, going away from the charity mindset, and kind of ensuring agency is not taken away from the grassroots, right? With tools, techniques, the way Adriana and team are doing with digital tools and practices, the way Anshu is doing by the incentives that come from the recycling of the clothes and other things that come from urban India. But the way it shifts that mindset and gives agency and dignity and is not charity, and how it catalyzes community projects is what we need in this moment. Very inspiring to hear of Gautam's work, Gautam. And the one organization that comes to mind, Pranav, you asked me to react there, that might be a partner if you don't know them, like Adriana, I'm part of the extended Ashoka family of sorts. So I had co-founded the former Silicon Valley chapter for Ashoka. So many Ashoka fellows in India. But one that could be an interesting partner is the founder of Reap Benefit. Reap Benefit brings within a community, urban, often or rural, it brings the youth together and enables them to kind of, not enables, creates the ecosystem so that they can ideate Anshu was just talking about you a second ago, how much I admire Gunj's work and how that is the kind of change we need. And I didn't get into the story. I knew you were coming. So, but that is what we need in the world right now, just saying that. And now mentioning our other common friend that the REAP benefit might also be relevant partner here, because the young people come up with solutions to the community problems, waste management and more. And they come up with their templates for the young people to ideate, not just build solutions, come up with ideas, co-create solutions, and then share with each other, and also using digital technology. So that is another partner, a potential partner to loop into this with the waste management circularity mindset, because it is grounded front and center in the youth. So I think with Gunj and REAP benefit, I think, and what you're doing, Gautam, it might be a very powerful partnership. I just want to take a second to mention that I'm here with another, I will soon be engaging much more deeply, reconnecting with India with another hat. And in case synergies in this front, one area I'm also passionate about is creating opportunities and kind of taking away challenges and barriers that keep women behind in the world, whether it be my world of Silicon Valley, India, everywhere in the world. And I'm co-chair of a new initiative. It's called the US-India Women's Economic Empowerment STEM Collaborative, a long name. It is looking to bring together people from across sectors, philanthropy, industry, government, private sector, investors, academia, and more, to accelerate women and girls in STEM. And it is under the auspices of a joint initiative of USISPF, a trade organization, kind of a synergies organization between the two countries, Bridge Builder, US State Department, USAID, George Washington University. And we will soon be looking more deeply and already engaged with a few people, what is the systems change needed, whether it be in education, whether it be in rural livelihoods, whether it be in catalyzing more funding. What is it going to take to get women and girls kind of in STEM careers and STEM education? And so that is not directly relevant, but I believe, like Adriana, when like-minded people come together, there are amazing synergies. So as these new things are being developed, just wanted to share that that's something love to see if we can around circularity, recyclable, link it to accelerating girls and women, especially rural ones in STEM. But I will pause with that. We have Anshu, who inspires all of us, a huge fan, a huge believer in Anshu's work, and a friend.
Welcome, Anshu, to the space. Really looking forward to the conversation with you.
And I'm sorry, because there was certain thing which I was unavoidable, so I just reached home. So, and Adriana was following up absolutely regular basis. Apologies for missing this.
Not at all. We absolutely understand. We absolutely understand. Adriana, would you like to kick us off? And then I have a couple of questions for Anshu.
Yeah. Well, I think I feel so encouraged how collaboration now is like a main word, no? And how we bring it and download it to action. So many things are happening, and happy to be part of this. But I think we continue have to be honest in all the bottlenecks, all the difficulties we have on this collaboration, on this co-creation. No? And maybe we can ask Anshu, with his great experience, what themes are not flowing in this circularity?
Sorry, come again. What is it, Adriana?
What challenges are not in our system? Let's say we are talking, we see so many people, movement, university, new startups, projects talking about collaboration, no? In your own experience, in this systemic view that you embodied and have and download in your projects, what are the areas that are not flowing into this circularity?
I think we are still missing lots and lots of stakeholders in this. Fine, I think that's a big thing. I mean, if you see the larger, as I think last time also I said that if you see the entire disaster scene, which is a huge issue with because of whatever we are using, the all kind of consumptions and the landfills and the water related issues and all that. So the people who are affected by that are actually not the cause of that. So like if I talk about my country, and now in the last 2 months, we have seen floods all across everywhere, fine. And this is all happening not because of the weather change or fine. I understand climate change well, but I also understand that it is more happening because of the greed of certain kind. And absolutely, because that's what we don't want to talk about. We are after a person who is and I'm saying that no polythene to a person who is packing 10 different branded polythenes in a polythene, right? We are not stopping those 10 branded polythene, but we are after the life of a person who is packing those things, those small, tiny 10 gram, 20 gram, 50 gram sachet, and that's what we do. So I think it's important to make part of it. I mean, first, instead of, balancing our carbon footprint and all that kind of thing later on, okay, it's important that the larger businesses understand that it is like now a situation which if we don't control, exactly what is happening in the world will affect each one of us. Sooner or later, it is coming to us. And we also at the extreme level, the other level, we also include the grassroots people in understanding these issues in a much better way, so that they also start saying no to certain things, right? Because ultimately we all are just imposing things on them. They should also have that awareness and right to say no on certain things. I mean, that's one thing which I always feel is missing. Second, I feel that it is important now. As in many sessions, I say this, that in so many schools we are still teaching how to save yourself from the earthquake, without understanding that now the disasters have changed, the world is changing fast. So I think all this also need to very soon become a part of the curriculum, instead of just limiting it to the seminars and conferences and one-day workshops. I think then only the real change will start happening. So these conversations need to be regular instead of a conference or seminar, especially with the younger generation, which is more sensitive and which I think can certainly restart certain things.
Yeah,
Thanks so much, Anshu, for
totally. No, totally agree with the words of Anshu. It's so. Many times I think when I left Patagonia, I came to the city. I was worried, thinking, "Oh, this is a disaster. What we are doing? Looking at my garbage, the trash every day." And what I think is so important that now we are all worried. No, we are all noticing that the problems are. We are the problem. Let's say we interfere the system so much without understanding we are part of the system. But since we are not totally aware, let's say, ready to handle this, to embrace this as a reality, seems a little bit we are like on a film looking how goes on, no?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I have a question, if I'm asked, Anshu, any thoughts or anyone on how, to the great point you raised, Anshu, how could this be part of the education curriculum? Whether formal, informal, what are the challenges in getting that done? That's a great point on that, and the points you raised, Adriana, that how do we get this thinking if we don't get it mainstream, and where the disasters are now, and how we contribute. It is already kind of almost too late. But what are the challenges is getting it into mainstream thinking curriculum, especially with the youth, and what are the Are there any thoughts on how to make this happen rapidly? We don't have time on our side, right? As a race, as a planet.
Radhika, as you know, officially bringing changes in the curriculum is a big stuff, right? I mean, it takes time. It takes a lot of time, and to be honest, we don't have that kind of time.
No.
But the good part is that the way we operate in many areas, the good part is that we have very sensitive, say, teaching faculty. We also have very sensitive eco club and all that kind of clubs which are still looking for opportunities to do something good, right? I think these should be our target to start with, so that instead of, as I am saying again and again, it cannot be limited to half day kind of thing, but it has to be designed in a series kind of thing with a lot of practical exposure to the kids and the faculty of going to the dumping site and understanding what is this garbage all about, right? I mean, maybe if you go to the dumping site, and that's where like Adriana was saying, that's where maybe you understand that, okay, fine, this garbage is actually coming from my home and I can avoid it at my end, So it has to be a very comprehensive approach, but it will only happen when people like us, many of us who are talking today or otherwise, we take some initiatives and collective initiatives, maybe,
Totally.
that we all start speaking the same language.
Yeah.
And that language is very important.
Yeah. One reaction to what Anshu's, go ahead, Adriana.
No, sorry. No, just to say that I think we have to co-create the new system. All these years, Hecho por Nosotros create what we call an university of systemic change. Coming to Hecho por Nosotros is a way of educating us, the people that work with Anshu, because that experience connecting with people in a transversal way, understanding what are our roles, how we are part of the problem, how can be part of the solution. But as an experience, we have to go out of theory. Yes, all this system of education formally is created for the system we have. So if we want to go there, to intervene, to convince the leaders, well, we no time, no opportunities. Let's create new spaces and interchange, create bridges among universities, schools, people, all the stakeholders, and from there, people when they connect and have another experience, everything changes, and this is unmeasurable. Yes. Also, all impact investors and all the system is waiting from the change makers or this. Well, give me the results. Give me the the reports. It's so difficult. We have to think like totally different. We cannot measure the unmeasurable. Yes, and our Earth and our role in our Earth and our interaction and every action we make is unmeasurable. So I think we just have to keep on going and sharing new ways of co-learning and co-creating.
Thank you, Adriana.
May
I just have one quick reaction? Oh, so go ahead, Anshu, after you.
No, I was just saying that we are, I think, already 40 minutes above the timing. I don't know. We are just having interaction. Is that okay?
Actually, Anshu, the main talk finished. This is the lab part. So we only started at 9 o'clock. So this is more of a small collaboration. Even I also joined at 9. So we are within the lab time. We are over the speaker session finished, just for context. I just had one quick reaction to this because I have some thoughts on making concrete to the points we all want to make things concrete, listening to Adriana and Anshu. I wanted to just put that on the table. Both of you, I'm a huge believer, being engaged, not just dear friends, but very inspired. And in this climate education is something I and many in my part of the world are passionate about. And with another hat, I want to mention, in case Synergy is here on this dialogue on, as Anshu said, the formal changing formal education is not going to happen in 10 years. So, I mean, that's my sense at least. So informally, if these things are there with Hechos Pronostro's work, Gunja's work, the informal education around sustainability, circularity, but with a specific focus on our own, like us, what do we create and how can we shift that? One thought is, one hat is, I am co-chair of the new, talking of impact investing and such, the new joint SDG fund of the United Nations. Has something called a Breakthrough Alliance. It's a public-private partnerships within the UN. It is focused on the power of technology, media, and markets to tackle climate change and create opportunities for all. We are pulling the kind of top key players, powerful players in Silicon Valley, in Hollywood, across America, and we want to slowly connect across the world to advance the SDGs. But one thing, me and the other co-chair, Keith Coleman, fellow Stanford alum from the world of Hollywood, are passionate is climate education. And one thought going in my mind right now, Adriana, you and I have talked about creating a, whatever we call it, circularity lab, right? Perhaps with your other acquaintance, grounded within Hechos Pronostos. And I love that, but it is again very high level. One thought going in my mind is, what if we instead of that, or within that, one very specific thing we take on together with Gunja, with Hechos Pronostos. I can see if I can engage this high level UN fund, whose goal is to catalyze impact investing. But within that, since the Breakthrough Alliance climate education we are passionate about, this is very concrete. What if we said, let's see if we bring together stakeholders from UN, from these parts of the world, 3 parts of the world for now, Argentina, US, and India, to start ideating on climate informal sector climate education, specifically around the waste we create and circularity, then, and piggybacking on what already Hechos Pronostos and Gunja are doing on climate education around this and digital tools and techniques, and see what we can do. And perhaps if you guys are open, we add a couple of, for the joint SDG fund, the focus is not Argentina, India, US, because it's the very developing countries of the world. So once we develop something, we bring in Ghana, as we were thinking, Adriana. We are already doing things with Professor Atto in Ghana. So maybe we have a few countries like that, 4 countries maybe. We get the 3 continents on the global south. We have my part of the world in this, and we just ideate on how can we accelerate what's happening and what else can we create around education in circularity and kind of our own waste creation, and what we can do as individual community. Might that be of interest? We take the concretes and develop it, and what is the systems change needed even beyond the work of the 2 organizations. But this way it's grounded in what is happening, and scaling that is one goal. And perhaps Gautam's, if it makes sense, also with education mindset, though in this case, what is it going to take to educate the youth and more around this? Is that of interest? And if so, maybe that could be a concrete thing we do in this lab we are envisioning, Adriana. I just wanted to put it to you to think.
Okay, beautiful. And of course, we open arms and mind and energy for all opportunities to make it happen and continue. So thank you so much, Radhika, for your commitment and support. Almost, well, Pranav sadly had to leave. So I think we need almost to close the session with this intention. It's a very beautiful close. If you want Anshu to give 1 minute, Gautam, Luna, and we finish the session. We will have many other opportunities to talk and go beyond with ideas. Anshu, would you like?
Okay, so I think what I can say is that, now we are, Gunj is 25 years, right? And it works in parts of 27 states of India. And I think in our lifetime, just in 25 years, we have seen all these circular economy and, so many these words coming up. Okay.
Yeah.
Although we have been doing the same work for the last 25 years, and we never knew that the titles are like this. Okay. So what I'm trying to say that there's an experiment which is there, which has proof points in different parts of the country, and India is like a lab. If you do something in a few states, it can be applicable in many parts of the world. So I'm just here, and now we call it Boon 3.0, and in this phase it's all about replication and collaboration, and taking these ideas out, and let the local adaptability be there, because there must be many things which we must be doing wrong or right, but there are other people who can do much better, and they can add their wisdom, and we can add wisdom of each other. So I think we are absolutely open to take it out. And as I said, this is Goon 3.0 for us, and it is only about replication and collaboration. So just count us in for anything. And because we know that it is urgent, it's very simple. There has to be a sense of urgency now.
Totally. And these examples going on are so important. We have to go with that, let's say, collaboration, open source, yes, of good practices, of experiences. And that's the aim of so many change makers. And it's a pleasure to be here with Anshu, Gautam, and of course, Radhika. Gautam, would you like to give 1 minute?
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you for this opportunity. And, the whole idea, Anshu, before you joined, we were talking about how by 2030, there will be close to 180 million car seat belts lying around. And we discussed this in person also when we met you at Goonj. So the idea that we were discussing here was, we have this notion that waste is a negative word. So we want to break away from that. And the whole idea is that we will create resource efficiency centers in and around the upcoming scrappage facilities in India. And this will be an important step in achieving our mission of promoting a sustainable world and empowering the underserved communities. And Radhika, you alluded to the fact that there's a lot of interest now working in women empowerment. And I must add that ours is a women-led organization that essentially hires and upskills, creates opportunities for women in and around these facilities, which are predominantly laden by patriarchal practices, from centuries. So the one idea is, one of the areas is to empower them. And we believe that this is that the center, the Resource Efficiency Center, has the potential to create significant impact, not just in India, but we can take this model globally, because like sustainable fashion, what's the other commodity that every city in the world has is cars. And these cars produce waste, and this waste needs to be utilized. So that's essentially one of the ideas. But to tie this into education and art, our arts and culture, that could be another area where we could create, massive inroads. If, for instance, we can create installations out of these recovered materials by showcasing diverse products that are made from waste, we can inspire and educate not just the visitors, but let's say if we were to set up a center in Sonipat or in Gurgaon, which have a cluster of universities around them, then the potential to engage with education and academia also multiplies by the number of universities that are there. So these spaces, these resource efficiency centers, can serve as spaces for local artists and artisans to showcase their work. We could have traveling exhibitions around the world, collaborate with stakeholders, multiple stakeholders, not just a few that we can count on our hands, but thousands of stakeholders who are mobilized, across the world, and provide economic opportunities for all the communities, So this integrates waste with the arts and culture and education into the circular economy model. And the collaboration will promote social and cultural development in addition to economic, education, and environmental sustainability in any city that this comes up. So that will be all from me.
That's very inspiring, Garden. And I'd love to explore, if you, I don't want to take time, but share a little bit offline. Gautam, Adriana could connect us on I didn't know about the women-led part. It sounds very synergistic with the STEM collaborative. So maybe just share some, or we can connect on LinkedIn.
Sure. We'll connect. Definitely.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
sure. Thank you, Gautam. Luna, would you like to give 1 minute?
Sure, I can do that. So it's been a pleasure. And actually, I wanted to sort of enforce what Radhika said. So I do believe that the youth is coming up with amazing ideas and concepts for startups. So we know what we need to do now. We just need to make it happen. And also regarding Gautam, so you mentioned cars, right? And how you're recycling seatbelts. And actually, the car industry can help fashion so much, even the tires, right? So you can actually make things or other polyester from tires. So there are solutions that we can, keep exploring, trying to implement. So yeah, from my side, I'll keep it short and just say that I know it's inspiring and now we may come up with some new ideas. So thank you.
Thank you, Luna. It's a pleasure. Luna is part of Hecho por Nosotros, Circularity and Waste Team. Love to see you feeling they can be part of the new world. So thank you so much, your presentation. So in words or would you like?
Couldn't hear you very clearly, Adriana, what you last said, I think. At least I couldn't.
No, but we are finishing. If you want to say something to close, and then we finish the session.
Me, no, I spoke too much already. I am very inspired to be here.
Okay, thank you. Well, it has been a pleasure, and as we see so many energy, opportunities, solutions going on. So let's make collaboration work. This is another stage of a great conversation. And thank you so much, each of you. It's a pleasure and honor to be together. Thank you. See
Can we
you.
take a group picture if that's okay? I think somebody already signed up.
I like the idea of group picture. Don't sign out, Anshu, for a second, yeah. Because if you all work together, this is the moment where it's got started.
Great.
Okay. Can we do a group picture? Rocio is the expert, right, in everything. Okay, Rocio can make it happen. Rocio, you should be in the group picture. Why are you always on off video? You're the one who makes it happen from behind the scene.
Okay.
Give me a moment. I try to see all the participants at the same time. I don't know how to do that.
I think I got it.
Right.
Perfect. Thank you. Nice to see you all.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Bye-bye then.
Rocio, thank you for all your help.